Hey guys, Alana Terry here with Jaime Hampton, who has been my Prevailing Prayer co-host for, I think, over a year and a half now. And if you have not heard, today is our very last episode of the Prevailing Prayer Podcast. So before we go into all the new things coming, including announcing our new podcast and stuff, we just want to take a minute to let you guys know how grateful we are and just what a blessing it's been working with you and for you over this past almost 2 years.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to believe that much time has gone by. I still think of the podcast as something kind of new, but we're, in the 80s in our episodes now. So, yeah.
You meant like we're old ladies in our 80s.
We're in our 80s.
In podcast years.
We're in our 80s. We're very wise and old. No, I don't know. But
much love out there to our listeners who are in their 80s, by the way. Thank you for being with us.
Yes. We are just really excited. It's bittersweet though. And
oh, for sure.
It is. But we're really excited because, where God is taking us, we know it's going to be even better than what we've experienced in the past. But it's kind of bittersweet letting go to that, and I even just ordered my very own, and I ordered one for Alana too, a Prevailing Prayer coffee mug. I should have brought it with me.
Oh, that would have been fun. Yeah.
But anyway, to remember that, God has brought us through Prevailing Prayer, but we're going to be moving on to different things. I don't know. Do you want to reveal what those different things are?
Well, stay tuned because we are going to reveal. But, I don't know. I feel like with this being our last episode, Jaime and I didn't have a ton of agenda going into it. Like, we definitely want to announce the name of our new podcast, our new website, because the very last thing we want is to lose you guys. So for those of you who are regular listeners, just thank you so much. This would not have been, I hate to even put it this way, this would not have been worth our time to do if we didn't have listeners. And we have both enjoyed it so much, as I'm hoping you can tell. Jaime and I have a lot of fun doing this. We take it seriously and we try to be professional, but I feel like we both just come away from our times recording or even just praying for the podcast so encouraged. And we just want to thank you guys for being on this journey with us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I was even sharing with you that, there have been times when I've been going through a really hard time or a really hard day or struggling with things. But the minute I sit down here and we start recording, it's like this peace comes over me. I know that this has been anointed time, that God has really called us into this. And it's been so much more than a ministry. It's transformed us.
How about this? It's not a ministry. It's a way of life. Do you like that?
That could be... I think that'll be our new tagline. It's not a ministry. It's a way of life. I like that. But it is. It's not just pouring. It's not just us pouring out, but God has just poured into us, and we've just felt like we've learned so much. And I think this, the retreat that we did over the summer, this Smash Your Prayer Blocks retreat, came out of all of this stuff that we've learned and that we've become excited about as God has revealed it to us. And I think that's kind of one of the big reasons that we wanted to do that and provide that resource for people, was because it was something that has ministered to us and has given us just excitement.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of resources, that's probably the biggest reason why we're switching gears, because if you've been listening to the past few weeks on the Prevailing Prayer Podcast, we've talked about it a little bit, but we want to do more than just podcasting. And I can actually think back to the evening where I was sitting, if you're watching, in that chair right there behind me, and just saw a picture of this website that the podcast was just one small part of it, and it was totally focused on prayer. That is something that is so close to my heart and so close to Jaime's heart. And we are definitely carrying that focus with us into this new podcast and this new website. But the neat thing was the podcast is now just going to be one small part of that. And we have big dreams, and it's been really exciting to take those dreams and brainstorm them and just, take these to God and be like, all right, God, what are you going to do with this? We're so excited, and we're so thankful for those of you who have prayed with us and prayed for us for this transition. This really does feel like a huge step in faith. I think we both got to where we got used to showing up, we got used to recording the podcast, and we got used to having our regular weekly meetings about it, and that was kind of it. And we're really changing a lot. So do you want to explain just some of the things? Jaime, tell us what's behind door number 1. What's coming up?
Well, we definitely we're going to have a new website, and we are going to be doing more online retreats and courses. We're going to be producing prayer books. We've got one in the works that Alana already gave you information on that's all about distractions. That's going to be our first joint work, is doing these prayer books.
I'm so excited about that one. It's been really, really fun to work with.
And the first of many, and then
for sure.
But there are other things that are, I don't know, we shouldn't reveal all of them, but there are other little things and projects and things that are really kind of big things that we want to launch in the near future. And
like I said, we have really, really big dreams, and both really believe that these have come from the Lord. And so we would love your prayers, because I think we both are jumping into this knowing, just because God gives you this great idea doesn't mean that it's not work to get there, and just because we might have a picture of what the end may or should or will look like doesn't mean that the road there is going to be perfect sailing. And we wouldn't be doing any of our past or our future work if we didn't fervently believe in the power of prayer. So we just would really love your prayers in this transition. Speaking of transitions, today, like I said, not only is it the last day and the very last episode of the Prevailing Prayer Podcast, today is also symbolically the very first episode of our new podcast. Our new name that we would love for you to just jump onto iTunes or Stitcher, or basically wherever you've been listening to the Prevailing Prayer Podcast, you can find us under our new name. It is going to be the Praying Christian Women Podcast. It's also our website, prayingchristianwomen.com, and we definitely want you to join us there. If you are not a woman, then we are surprised, because it seems that even though Prevailing Prayer was not exclusive to women, that seems to be the bulk of our listenership. If you're not a woman, you're welcome to join us. It's going to be very similar, at least in the podcast. It's just going to have women in the title.
Yeah, and we just, our hope, I think, is that this new name will represent a new chapter of just being able to offer more, and kind of a mental shift of doing the podcast as a hobby and a ministry and something we're excited about, to just putting everything into it. And I think moving forward with even bigger hopes and expectations about who we can reach with this ministry. So
Absolutely.
thank you again so much for being part of Prevailing Prayer, but please join us at Praying Christian Women, because it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. In addition to your prayers, there actually are a few just practical ways that you could help us with this launch. We would love not only for you to subscribe to our new podcast, but to leave a review there, and also to let your friends know. And just so you're aware, we're going to be doing a lot of giveaways and things like that. So jump on to the new thread, listen to a few of our new episodes at Praying Christian Women, at the Praying Christian Women podcast, and make sure you're ready to enter some of the giveaways there, because we are so excited about this. We're excited about the potential to reach way more people. We've both said it before. We have big dreams for this, and you can help us get the word out about that to make the launch really strong.
Well, before we leave, we would just really like to close in prayer and just ask God's blessing on you as a listener and on our new launch and our new ministry. So thank you for joining us. And this is the Prevailing Prayer Podcast signing off. God, we just thank you so much for bringing us together and just for Alana and myself being able to be part of Prevailing Prayer and this Prevailing Prayer Podcast. God, what a gift to us. And we just pray that you would continue to be glorified in what we have done, and that we would just be able to look forward with excitement and anxious expectation as to what you're going to do with Praying Christian Women, with the website, with the podcast, and the resources that you would like us to move forward with. God, we just lift up our listeners, God, as they take this prayer journey of their own. God, we just pray that you would be blessing them, Lord, that you would be just drawing them closer to yourself, that you would be opening their eyes to the calling that you've placed on their lives, to be prayer warriors, that you would just continue to be removing any blocks or blinders that they might have that might be keeping them from praying with power and just glorifying you. We just dedicate this new ministry that Alana and I are going to be doing to you, God. We place it at your feet, and we just pray that, like the loaves and the fish, that you would multiply our offerings and just bless others amazingly and tremendously through it. In Jesus' name, amen.
The Prevailing Prayer Podcast, changing the world one prayer at a time.